straight shooter. No sugar coat, no booger sugar, never had a nose full of dough. It's all good, folks.
We need to, now, here we go again, we need to discuss this. Jason Whitlock. Yo, what is good, Jason Whitlock, yo? Haven't listened to this dude's podcast in like months when he started going in on Kwame Brown. So, it's like he was going in on Kwame Brown, right? And at first, he was supporting Kwame Brown. And then he started saying some crazy things because the only reason he was really supporting Kwame Brown is because of the people Kwame Brown was going after, and because Kwame Brown was, promoting Christianity or faith in God. So I think Jason Whitlock has an internal issue going on right now. He has a struggle. He's the epitome of Catholicism, so to speak, and nothing against Catholicism. You can practice whatever you want, but the argument about Catholicism is it's like paganism mixed in Christianity. There's a lot of worship of idols in Christianity. In Catholicism, but it's a Christian religion, and people, they believe that it is the worship of God and the Holy Trinity, but there's a lot of intermediary worship going on. So how do I say that he has an internal struggle and he's like, and compare him to the religion of Catholicism? Because he is a reporter, he's a journalist, he's a writer, but he wants to be an athlete. He once played the sport, and he admittedly said he wasn't good enough to be, a pro. So he went into writing. That's what led him into writing about the sport. So his internal struggle is that before, there were only athletes, athleting, and writers and journalists journalizing and writing, and color analysts analyzing. Now the lines have been merged and blurred, and now you're seeing athletes analyzing, and some journalists and analysts are losing their jobs because they can't compete with the Hall of Famer on the topic of football. As an analyst, nobody's asking these guys to write columns because we've become digital. Nobody is reading a column in the newspaper. Who cares about Stephen A's history as a writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, whatever that fucking newspaper was, and rising through the ranks? Stephen A, Jason Whitlock. It's unfortunate that these people are people of color, and they have this disdain for athletes, and they just perpetuate the idea that black people are only entertainers and can only succeed in sports and entertainment because they excelled outside of playing the sport, but they're in the world of the sport, and because they are of color, you can argue that it was affirmative action that allowed them to rise up the ranks, because you can't have all white people talking about sports who consist of predominantly people of color. So they made their way by having talent, by having the prerequisite requirements, be it a degree, be it a certification, be it writing enough papers, and whatever the case may be. They fit the description on that level. Next, where's the talent? Are you charismatic? Are you TV ready? You know, can you go live? You know, whatever. They met those metrics, right? So now, boom, they make it on ESPN, the biggest platform in the world. But they haven't left alone. It's like they haven't left the sports bug. They haven't got rid of that virus or that sports bug. It's like a person who is a criminal. He hasn't allowed his criminal past to leave him. He goes clean and he's doing something, but he always has that moment where, you know, he dips back. You know, if he cannot get caught, if he could do this thing without getting caught, he does it, you know? And you can draw those parallels on many levels. And this is what they're doing. Like, they love the sport, and everything that the sport brings, they weren't able to achieve. And because they weren't able to achieve it, they have to live in the world of they're only as good as their TV ratings or as people perceive them based on their talking points, because you have nothing else. You know, Stephen A has a messed up hairline, you know, he looks funny, blah, 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 you know, and everybody's not perfect looking, but people talk about him, you know, about these features, right? So if he was an athlete like Michael Jordan or something like that, nobody would care about that. He would get all the girls, you know, because he's an athlete, he's a star, he's an idol. But he can't emerge, he can't surpass certain levels because he's only what he is. Jason Whitlock is much bigger than Stephen A. Smith. He looks weird and all this type of stuff. So he's probably not even getting the type of women that Stephen A. is getting. And that's gotta churn, that's just gotta like hurt him as well. So if he was a famous offensive lineman, he'd be able to pull anything he wanted. But he can't because he's not. So he has to live in that space. So he's unable to let go of the what if I was what if I was able to, what if I played here? You know, he can't get over that. And you keep seeing this guy taking shots at athletes who happen to be the same color as him because he knows he can't cross over into that realm of talking about other races. Why is it always a black and white issue? First of all, we are not black. Our skin color is brown. This has to be the most stupid argument ever. Those other people are not white. They are whatever color they are. Tan, opaque, peach, whatever. But they're not white. And in between black and white, you have so many other players. Jeremy Lin, Dak Wynn, the quarterback up in Michigan State. You have so many people of color who are not American, so-called black people. You have so many Africans right now who are shining in the sports world, who are not American, who know we don't share the same blood and we don't share the same story. So you can't just pull all these people. So they know when they talk about black people, when they talk about, when Stephen A. and Jason Whitlock, when they criticize so-called black people, they're not criticizing the Hakeem Olajuwon. They're not criticizing the Samuel Acho and Emmanuel Acho. They're not criticizing these people of color. They're criticizing the Michael Jordans, the Jalen Roses, because they come from the same culture. It makes no point. It makes no sense to even talk about, it makes no sense to talk about Christian Okoye. Christian Okoye is a myth now. You know what I'm saying? But you could talk about Eric Bieniemy. You could talk about Eric Dickerson, because these people you can connect to. And this is what we're not understanding as an entire America. Like, we know, but we don't like, we lose focus on that. Like, draw the fucking line. Like, we're not the same. So when you start talking about individuals and you have these talking heads that are like talking about and analyzing and criticizing these individual athletes. They're only talking about people that they can be connected to, and because they're connected to them, they're jealous of them. Hell, I played high school football, I got to college, and I didn't see, they wanted me to redshirt in JUCO. I'm like, I'm not redshirting in JUCO. What the hell I look like redshirting in JUCO? I get 2 years of JUCO, and then if I'm good enough, I can go D1. I'm not thinking about D2. And this is 2000, the year 2000. You see, that's crazy. Today, a dog can be found anywhere, but that's not what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking about that. Our high school coaches was not supporting us like that. I come from a powerhouse high school, very good, but we didn't have coaches that poured into us. So I didn't think like that. I'm like, hell no. I was upstate New York. I loved it though. I loved upstate New York. I went to Hudson Valley Community College, and I'm like, I love it up here. But I'm paying out-of-state tuition. I'm not on scholarship, so I'm paying out-of-state tuition. Funny story, I might go into how that even happened, but I might go into another time. Matter of fact, real quick, so my father and I up there, I'm enrolling in the admissions lady is talking to us about tuition, and the lady says, so you guys are on in-state tuition? And I said, nah, I'm from New Jersey. And she said, oh, okay, out-of-state tuition. And the price went up like $10,000. My father, he kicked me in the foot, and looked at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And that's why, so yeah, but anyway, I'm in JUCO, and I'm like, nah, I'm not redshirting. So the linebacker coach comes to my apartment. He's like, yo, just stick it out. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of potential in you, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah, bro, I appreciate it, but, I'm not fast enough right now. I'm not strong enough right now. I'm just going to I'm going to hang it up. You know what I'm saying? I see that I'm not cut out right now. You know what I mean? So I hung up football, in JUCO. So today, do I see players that are like blowing their opportunities and not good as I see myself in my head, or even at times that I played in high school and lower levels before high school? Hell yeah. Would that create resentment in me? And I feel like, oh, I could talk from the couch or from the YouTube or behind the screen? Hell yeah. So what are they doing at that level? Because they're making millions of dollars, but they're not making the millions of dollars. They're not in the tens of millions of dollars per year with everything that comes with it. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be a certain type of person to not get jealous and be envious of another man. You have to be a special man with no female tendencies, with no issues within your heart to be able to cope and not fall into those particular areas of fuckery, you know what I'm saying? And they haven't reached that point. And Jason Whitlock is down spiraling fast as hell. What I don't understand is how in the world could Warren Sapp, Brett Favre, and Seth Joyner even like be in his presence. Like, yo, his sun is not, or his light is not shining bright enough that it can help those guys out. Like, those guys could do much better without fucking Jason Whitlock. Yeah, so talk about Christian Laettner. Christian Laettner is not a comparison for Shedeur Sanders. Compare Shedeur Sanders to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was arrogant. He popped off. He did all that stuff. And when he drove the flag in the field against Kansas, he grabbed his nuts against, I think, Kansas or whatever. He was the Heisman Trophy winner, and he became the first overall pick. What more can you say? You know what I'm saying? This is football, man. This is not like cheerleading. This is not a debate class. It's not chess club. Football players are built different. They have CTE after some time. They take a lot of hits. You feel me? The running backs are getting pushed out of the league. And then you got these talking heads that want them to be political pundits. Like, nah, man, let these men live. Let them do what they're going to do. Let them say what they're going to say. Because at the end of the day, you gonna watch him. The issue for Jason Whitlock is that he is not big enough. He wants to be them. He's jealous, and he's understanding that, look, I can never be them. And because I can never be them, I have to hate them. And I'm going to use whatever talking point I can to make my light shine a little brighter. What I would say to him is, stop talking about sports, go into the church. You know, pick up a Bible study class and become a teacher. Because all the backbiting that you're doing, this is against the Lord. This is against Christianity. Everything you're calling them out about doing, you're doing it. He's no better a Christian than anybody on this earth. This man is like the biggest hypocrite because he wants to continuously talk about Christianity. And it's clear that he don't know a damn thing about faith. He don't know nothing about faith. He's talking about these men as if that's not a sin. He needs to stop talking about sports, because all sports does for him is makes him talk about people. And he tries to cover up all of those sins with the fact that he's a Christian. No, you can't. And then he wants to compare his Christianity practice with another man's practice of Christianity. Like, who does that? He wants to be a competitor because he couldn't be a competitor. In this sports journalism field, it's not a competitive sport unless you have a debate show. Outside of debate shows, you're not competing against anybody because ratings, you don't control ratings. And if you really want to increase your ratings, you have to say things that spike the Nielsen curve. And that may not be genuine. So if you're going to be disingenuous, you need to stop being a Christian. And if you want to be a Christian, you need to stop being a journalist. Because you don't have the talent or the appeal that people will love you for who you are. And you have to do these other things that make you stand out, and that compromises your faith and it compromises your professionalism, because you've obviously done everything right to get to where you are from a prerequisite perspective, and now you're destroying all of that. And it's pitiful because you're whack as hell. So that's what I want to say about that, man. This weekend, CU got Oregon. I think it's going to be another victory. People are talking about 21-point spreads. Look, we don't even care about that. CU don't care about that. What I hope, from what I see, is we're going to be playing some guys who haven't played yet this year. I'm hoping that they've been holding the line and just seeing how much we could bend without breaking, so that we can buy enough time for everybody to get healed. So we got Alto coming back this week. That's great. Juju is in there balling out. Shout out to Jersey, because that's where I'm from. I'm from 908, he from 973. You know what I mean? That's right down the hill from me. So that's what's up. We got Travis J possibly coming back. I'm hoping Brendan Gant comes back. Shout out to Kamani McClain, you know, getting stronger, getting better at what he's, you know, hoping to build a career off of. You know, hopefully Travis Hunter gets healthy. And shout out to Coach Prime, man. You know, I didn't like Kobe Bryant when he played basketball because I was caught up into the sport and I wasn't a Lakers fan. But towards Kobe's final years, I started to appreciate Kobe. But I started to love Kobe once he retired, and he used to just like, you know, he got into business and he spent more time talking and doing interviews, and you get to see like this other side of Kobe. I'm like, damn, Kobe is the fucking man, yo. Let his beard grow, you know what I mean? And he was just being who he was. Same with Derek Jeter. When Derek Jeter retired, I was a Yankees fan growing up. So Derek Jeter, he was just being him. You know what I'm saying? Doing his thing. And it's like, Coach Prime, yo, this dude is a gem. I don't care if it's a character he's playing his prime, and sometimes he's Deion. Like, yo, this man is like the median for us, yo. Because a lot of so-called black men are just like him, yo. If you hear what he says, we're just like him. The only difference is he was a superior athlete. But when it comes to like just from a cerebral aspect, and somebody who was trying to make something happen in life to take care of their family and just be a man, this is the epitome right here, yo. And Kobe was like that. You know what I'm saying? Work hard, don't make excuses, have belief in yourself, have drive, be driven. The people around you respect and love you. That's it. But it's coming from somebody that look like us. It's not somebody that look like somebody else. And we don't get to see this that much, yo. And I'm saying we, meaning the world. Like, the world doesn't get to see this side. They only understand black people from sports and when they're wearing those uniforms. But when the man is just wearing clothes and he's just talking about some real shit, like, that's what needs to be respected about us first, because we're fucking brilliant people. You know what I'm saying? And we're like passionate, and we're trustworthy, and we're genuine, and we're amazing. Not that we're better than anybody else. It's just they are too, but so are we. And that's what I appreciate about Coach Prime the most, man. And like hearing Coach Hart. Coach Hart is another one, man. Like, that dude is serious, man, and I just appreciate it. So I'm gonna bounce right now, get ready for tomorrow. Hope we win that game out in Eugene. Oregon fans have been real classy. I was on the Rob the Man Media board the other day, and some of them guys that came up there that were against CU, they just don't know what they're talking about. That's crazy. Like, Oregon is good. Yeah, they're good, but who cares about the last few years? We're talking about right now. And their running game has not shown to be that special. They haven't had a real tough opponent. And they're trying to diminish the fact that CU is a real tough opponent, like we are. But we have some holes, yeah, but every team has holes. The one X factor that we have that they don't have is the quarterback. And Bo Nix is nice, he's good. He'll be an NFL quarterback. Whether he'll be a starter, that's another thing. But he will be an NFL quarterback. He just ain't Shador, yo. Shador is going to be a starting NFL quarterback. Will he become a Hall of Fame quarterback? That's up to Shador. You know what I'm saying? That's up to Shador. But right now, he's trending upwards in his projection from the work he's put in. I mean, he's an NFL quarterback. He's a starting NFL quarterback. And he's better than Caleb Williams in my mind, because the intangibles that Shador had are things that are natural for a young man to emit. Caleb Williams does things that are not typical man things. And if he continues with that into his pro career, it's going to be a distraction. You'll see Caleb Williams wearing a dress soon. Whereas Shador, you're not going to see him doing that. You'll see Shador at too many clubs, but because of his foundation and the coaching that he's received from childhood, he's not going to get into those things. He's also doing this to increase his marketing value. And I'm only saying like what the averages speak of. He doesn't look like the type of person that's going to get caught up like that, but Caleb Williams does. What type of men paint their nails in quarterback? So what is that going to go? What's the next step after that? After painting your nails, what's next? We gotta go bigger. Wear a dress. The first quarterback to wear a dress, Caleb Williams, maybe. You know what I'm saying? So it's not the next big thing is me stop painting my nails. No, wear makeup, wear lipstick. You know what I'm saying? Put barrettes in my hair, some shit. Like that's the next thing. Wear high heels. You know what I'm saying? So Shador, you know, it's like I had a Maybach. What's the next thing? A Rolls Royce. It's completely different. You know what I'm saying? It's not things that are like gender barring. You know what I'm saying? Like, so these intangibles prove to me like, look, I can draft Shador number 1 as my franchise quarterback because he does typical things that young men do, that men do. But Caleb Williams, I mean, now that Shador has emerged, I don't have to go with Caleb Williams because although Caleb Williams is freaking great, I don't know what he's gonna bring into the locker room. Are all my players gonna like a man that wears nail polish? Nah, we not rocking with that. We're not rocking with that. So anyway, much love to all of them, and you know, I apologize for the criticism ahead of time, Caleb Williams, but that's what it is. It's my opinion on a man and what a man does and how that can distract the team or how that can affect his value long term, you know, because these actions matter and these ways that people, the lifestyles you live matters now. You know, it shouldn't. It should be the last thing that matters, but they've made it where it matters. So it has to be taken into account. All right, man. So this is Out of My Mind. I'm out of here. Peace.